We have espresso once again. It is 8:50 a.m. Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Jade. We're just gonna get right into it. So, if any of you have ever listened to my podcast that I co-host, Blame It on the Stars podcast, you would know that a while back I had tweeted, like, when Moldavite was really trendy and popular, like, how come I'm experiencing all the side effects that Moldavite is supposed to give you without actually owning the crystal? And everyone was like, Jade, you're going through a spiritual awakening. And then I realized, I am going through a spiritual awakening. And this isn't my first one, this is my second one. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a video sort of talking about what my experiences are currently and what they were in the previous spiritual awakening. In case anyone else is also kind of going through a spiritual awakening, it is the worst, ugliest process that I've ever dealt with in my whole life. Like, no drama there. It's pretty awful. And I was doing a lot of research about it. I remember I watched Leora Alexandra's video all about it, and she said that her process was pretty rough. I watched Infinite Waters just because I was like, wow, am I really going through it alone? Like, this is awful. And a big part of the spiritual awakening process is kind of feeling very alone. So I just wanted to talk about my experiences in case, anyone else is going through it and wants to compare, wants to feel better, wants to think that they're not crazy, because I felt like I was crazy, especially during my first spiritual awakening. I literally thought I was losing my mind and that I was insane. So I figured I'd make this video. I'm on espresso again, so we're gonna power through this. I have some notes. So this is how to know if you are ascending, how to know if you are going through a spiritual awakening, as told through, my own experiences. Quick disclaimer, and I wrote a little disclaimer on my phone. I've gone through 2 awakenings. Everyone has their own awakenings. They're all, a very personal process. Your experiences are personal to you, and it's okay if yours are a little different than mine. There are some telltale signs that you're in it, that you're in the awakening, that I'm going to discuss, but if your story is a little different than mine, that's totally normal. And also I want to say that it can happen at any given point in your life. It doesn't always have to happen at the ages that it occurred to me. You can have multiple, you can have one. Your story's your story, my story's my story, so take everything with a grain of salt. This is just my own experiences. But anyway, so the first awakening I went through was when I was 19, and it was right after yoga teacher training, and I knew that I was going through a spiritual awakening because I just felt like nobody knew who I was anymore. The first thing that kind of happens when you're going through a spiritual awakening is you have these realizations where you just become aware of yourself and aware of your environment and aware of your experiences. And I remember all through yoga teacher training, it was kind of just wow, I really behave this way. Wow, my ego really does this. Wow, these people really behave a certain way. Wow, these people are really projecting. You become so aware. Usually something might trigger this for you. It could be, for me, it was through reading, through yoga. I started, that's what triggered it the first time. The second time was quarantine triggered it for me. I was reading a whole bunch of books. Books were really, crucial in my awakenings 1 and 2, and you just start sort of noticing all the flaws within your own behavior and within everyone else's behavior and society's behavior. And when you're in that stage where you're just so hyper aware of everything, it can get really depressing, because it's wow, all these people that I'm friends with are really fake. All they do is gossip, but you also understand that they're conditioned to be that way. It's not their fault that they were programmed that way. That's just, society molded them to be gossipers or, toxic or with bad intentions. Or you'll realize that some people don't have the best intentions. They weren't really truly rooting for you. They weren't really on your team. They weren't really in alignment with, what you want as a person. And you might look at your own behaviors and be wow, why am I so clingy to whoever? Why do I need validation from others? Why do I label myself a certain way? And then you go through the ego death. which is kind of like the next situation that happens, where you sort of learn to shut that little ego voice off in your head and become more in alignment with your core self. I remember like the ego would judge things and be like, oh, well, like that's not something that would work for me. Like I remember before I was vegan, like I used to shit on vegans so much. I used to make fun of vegans so hard and be like, vegans wake up and like smell lettuce and like get turned on. Like I was so mean about it, but like that was my ego getting in the way. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I should try this out for myself. The ego stepped back and was like, you know, you're labeling something, you're being rude because you don't understand it. And the ego death is very much like shedding of the need for validation. You know, I would notice when I would do things, especially second time around, if I would like do things because I wanted, you know, male validation or just validation in general from other people. And the ego death was like learning to just be comfortable without asking for approval. Specifically, like not even like, you know, attention seeking behaviors on the internet, attention seeking behaviors like in your personal life, but also like I think about all those times when you have a decision you want to make, or if you're like, you know, about to go head out somewhere and you have an outfit on. I mean, granted, like there's definitely circumstances where this is valid, but I would ask like my friends like, oh, what do you think of this? And their opinion was the one that made more impact than my own opinion. And you know, it was kind of just sort of like, why am I letting other people dictate what I'm doing? Why am I asking like if I should do this or not? Like, I know what I want. Why am I seeking validation from others? The ego death is the next thing. Then, you know, after you've gone through your realizations, you realize society's fucked up. You realize, you know, all these other things are going on. And then you start reconnecting to your true self and shedding weight of the people that don't fit into your life anymore. This is where you hit the tower moment. So, yeah, the tower moment. If you've ever gotten a tarot reading, done tarot readings, seen tarot readings, you would be familiar with the Tower card. And the Tower card is literally what happens in your life. It's kind of like what 2020... Oh my god. Bottom of the deck. Jade. You can't make that up. You literally... That was on camera. You cannot make that up. That's the Tower. Anyways, this is my Argentine deck, in case anyone's curious, but literally, get the fuck out. I hate spirituality sometimes. It's funny. Anyway, the Tower occurs, and the Tower is basically, you know, when we were in yoga teacher training, they would talk about two energies, the destructive energy and the, you know, the rebuild energy. And the Tower moment is kind of sort of that cleansing energy, making way for new things to come. It's very destructive. It's very aggressive. Like think of it as a forest fire building down or burning down the entire forest, so that way a new one can build with stronger trees and, you know, more grass and, you know, all those things. The Tower moment comes in your life and it's sort of like everything just starts falling apart. Things do not work out anymore. I know when I was 19, my like Tower moment was quite literally no longer being friends with like half the people I was friends with anymore, and finding like a new group of people. I quit my job, got a new job when I was 19. Things were not happening at home. I moved out briefly, but then that didn't work out. So then I moved back home just so I could move out into somewhere that did work out. And, you know, everything just stopped working. And I felt like I can't stay here anymore in whatever positions I was in. I can't stay in these friendships anymore. I can't stay in this job anymore. I can't stay in this home anymore. I can't stay in whatever. Like it was really just like you realize that certain things don't work and then everything just starts going wrong. And if it's not, you know, you making that conscious effort, like external forces will get in the way. So as I'm currently in round 2 of it, you know, certain friendships aren't working out anymore, but these people also don't live near me anymore. There's a geographic divide. The universe quite literally separated some of them from me. And then the ones that, you know, are meant for me are coming into my life, and they're moving close, and they're here, and they're easy to communicate with, and they're reaching out, and everything's working out, and everything's good. We're making way for the better relationships. And then certain things I can't talk about yet, but the universe is literally thrusting me away from one environment into the next, and there will be a video about it probably within the month of May, and I'll probably be hinting at what is happening next. But the universe is quite literally displacing me somewhere. So, like, loss is really just the theme. Like, things just stop working out, and it gets really ugly, and it can feel really uncomfortable, but it's so better things can be rebuilt. And you'll notice that, you know, during this sort of process, it can feel very draining. You know, you might feel very low energy, very tired, and you might feel like people don't understand you, but it's because they don't anymore. You know, that job isn't working out for you anymore because it's no longer meant for you. The roommates that you have are fighting with you because it's no longer meant to be your living situation anymore. Your friends aren't working out for you because it's no longer working for you anymore. Or your schooling or whatever situation is really starting to fall apart during your awakening, it's because it's no longer meant for you. But then comes the rebirth. So in the rebirth, new opportunities kind of start to, you know, appear left and right. I remember with, like, you know, my 19-year-old awakening, there was a job opening for a job that was really close by to where I had just moved. Well, the house that I found was like an opening, and I signed a lease and moved in within like less than a month. It was a very fast process. Then a job opens up right across from where my new like living space was, and I got hired and was able to work there. And then, you know, I was in classes with all of my friends, and things were just working out. And then also my, like, you know, ex-boyfriend, so boyfriend at the time, like, we met like very shortly after, and it was just like instant, like one after the other. And then a yoga job appeared. I no longer teach yoga, I've said that multiple times, but you know, everything just started appearing. And I'm looking at, like, now in my life, like, so many doors are opening. Obviously, I'm not talking about them yet, but just know that a lot of doors are opening. I can say, like, my friend's moving here, like, really close to where I live, on the same street as me, is also a big, you know, plus. There might also be other things on the same street as me, too, that I'll talk about later, but doors are opening. While this is all happening, these doors are opening, you might start to get really vivid dreams and sort of signs from the universe. You get like little confirmations, like you might start seeing angel numbers. Like, I remember when I was like 19, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would see like 222, or I would see like 1111, and like more recently I've been seeing 1234 a lot, which is like quite literally the angel number for building. So speaking of some other random like little signs that you're going through the awakening, you know, that you might experience on the dream wave here, you might sort of experience a change in sleeping habits. So both when I was 19 and now, I started waking up really early, and I became like infatuated with like the sunrise. Like, I literally have the sunrise tattooed on me. When I was 19, I remember I would wake up early to commute, and it started just becoming something that I actually enjoyed doing. It was a very meditative process for me, waking up that early. I was meditating a lot more in the morning. I remember I had like a tongue scraper. I was doing the whole thing, waking up early, you know, eating healthy foods, going for a drive, watching the sunrise, and just wanting to be at peace and be productive. I would even work out more often because I felt, you know, like I was just being called to wake up early. And now I wake up at 5 in the morning. I woke up at 6 today because it's my day off, but I still did my meditation, showered, skincare, you know, made my espresso, did my makeup, like cleaned the apartment, took out the garbage. My bedding's finally getting washed. It's been a minute since that, you know, was getting washed, but you just feel called to just start changing your sleep habits. Wanting to spend more time in nature. Specifically, this was really common when I was 19 because, as I mentioned, I was really infatuated with the sunrise. There was like a lake by my house, or like a reservoir, I guess, by my house, and I would wake up really, really early to go watch the sunrise. And spend time in nature and go on these nature walks. I remember I used to go with my sister, and we would go on these nature walks and just like talk, and it'd be so therapeutic because like being in the nature was healing. And like obviously I live kind of in a city now, but like when I go home for Easter, like I already like I need to wake up early and go to the beach and watch the sunrise and, you know, be outdoors, go for walks, even if it's just around the block, like do all of those things. Like I'm literally looking at my Instagram from when I was 19 just to give you some, like, I was obsessed with it, but you know, in a good way. Yeah, this is the little lake that I used to go to, and I would watch the sunrise here. But anyway, yes, being more in nature, being connected to the universe in that way, and you know, feeling that there was some therapy in being, you know, outside and in that environment. And then also I kind of hinted at it, but rejecting, you know, unhealthy foods or wanting to just eat more natural, you know, whatever that means to you. But I know, like, when I was 19, I, you know, started eating so much healthier, and then I slipped up once I turned 21. But also, you know, I had drank, but I just wasn't drinking as much as I wanted to, you know, underage. But, you know, I wasn't drinking as much as I used to or had planned to. It just wasn't, you know, as appealing to me. And I know, like, currently now I don't drink nearly as much as I used to. You know, besides the rare special occasions, I really don't drink alcohol leisurely anymore. And I've been eating so much more produce and less processed food. And I find that both of my awakenings were accompanied with wanting to eat better foods that felt good in my body, foods that came from the earth. And I know that that's like really common as well for a lot of people going through awakenings to have that experience. And lastly, you just start feeling significantly more content with yourself and more accepting of others, more accepting of just life in general, and feeling kind of like, you know, this is who I am, I'm comfortable being here, and I'm trusting in the universe that things are going to work out for me, and just feeling kind of sort of at peace. And, you know, once you get to that point at the end, who knows, I might still be going through it, I might not be at the end yet. I definitely have a lot more doors that have to open and more opportunities to enter and explore and experience. But yeah, I know when I was 19 and I had my first awakening, it was really wild, and it can feel like, you know, at moments really lonely and sad and depressing, like life is being ripped, you know, like the rug is being pulled out from under you, or you're being ripped out of a reality into a new one. And like for a minute too, I was talking about it with my therapist, I felt like I was being ripped from my old life into my new life. But at the end of it, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So if you're watching this and made it this far, hopefully you feel some type of peace or comfort in knowing that you're not alone in your experiences. And, you know, there's it's definitely painful, but it's worth it in the end. But anyways, that is it for my video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll be really nice. Good karma. I'm ruled by Saturn, so that's good karma. You know, do your little thing. Subscribe, support your fellow person. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm gonna go and drink some water and eat a nice healthy breakfast and maybe go for a walk and continue enjoying my beautiful Wednesday. This might go up on a Thursday, but anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.